Yes, now we're recording. What I will do is I will take this file here and I will lock it so it's locked by me. First thing I do is finish configuration. I'm following the normal steps. Now it's locked for price adjustment. That one has to be clicked. Then it kept the latest discount rate I gave you, but I can just change it to 55, like that. Then I pressed F8. And now some users, probably because they haven't been told not to, but anyhow, they put a mark here. Keep ownership of revision items. So I do that. I'm just showing you this. You should not do it because you should leave this one open. Now it should be locked and owned by me. And now I'm leaving it. Danielle, could you write down this ASK number here? 4R8ZC. If you make that a note of that, because then I'm gonna ask you to open it.
Okay.
And share it with us. 4R8ZC.
4R8ZC.
Yeah. Then I will close it. Yes. Then if you share your desktop, I will stop sharing and you share yours.
Okay. Just give me a few seconds.
Do you have issues with sharing?
No. I'm just getting this to be on the right thing.
Okay.
But I'm almost there.
No problem. No problem. We are patient.
Share screen. Share screen. That is. Can you guys?
No, we can't see anything yet.
Now?
Yes, now something's happened. Yeah.
Okay, so open.
Yes.
ASK
004
R8 ZC.
Yes. And then search or enter. It should be there.
No records.
What? That's funny. Maybe you can't open my quote because I have a completely different profile.
Maybe.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay. Then just cancel. Then I will try to open it on my laptop to show how to change it. Or maybe you have another one. No. This is one made by you.
Yeah. I feel like mine is restricted to just my things.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Just say cancel and open your own one. Then I will show it on my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you stop share, and I will take over the sharing.
Yep.
Sharing. You all see my laptop or desk now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What happened what happens when you open one which is locked by another user is that you will simply not be able to work in it at all. It will simply have a text here. Now I can't show you the text because I'm the one owning it already. But the text will be here that it is owned by Danielle, by Bojan, or whoever owns it. It will not be shared at free. It will be owned by another user. If you want to be able to, that could, for example, be you, Bojan, you want to play around with one in Jelena's ASK files, but she by accident have locked it, so you're not able to actually to work in it from beginning. You can put yourself on the revision, and then you can say force share. Then the current revision will be made shared and free, even if they are owned by other users. Would you like to proceed? Yes. And then you can work in it. After force sharing, you say edit all, checking out the items, and now I can work in it. Okay?
Nils, I don't have force share in the menu up there on my screen.
Also, not when you are in revision.
Okay. No.
Can you share your desktop? Then I will have a look. Yeah.
Okay, here.
No, but share all. Try to press that one. Are you sure to check out to the ASK server and then click away this, this one, and say yes. Now you're actually sharing it on the ASK server. So now Jelena can open it.
Okay.
And if you stumble into an ASK file which Jelena by accident have locked, you can ask her to share it for you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more thing regarding this status. I cannot select anything right now. Is
No.
that okay?
Yeah.
After the real is for quote, it's all blank. I cannot choose anything more.
Oh, okay. Have you had this ASK file closed down? If you go back and say edit all. No, not that one. That one. Yeah, this one. Yep. And then save. And then status. Still no possibility. No.
So I can now go back to configuring or something else.
Yeah,
I cannot even realize for sell order.
I can see that. But your Axflow guys, you were able to release for sales order, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's one more thing for your Pasilac people.
Well, we usually go through results, so
yes,
it's
I know.
Not important for us, but
no. I will discuss. With Salt whether we should incorporate this function for you, or if he wants.
I think it is not necessary. So
no. But let's see, because when you start to get very comfortable with the program and that you're certain on your designs and you don't want us to double check them, then there's no point in us releasing for sales orders, because I suppose actually you can then work in the same way that Axflow does, where you place the orders at some point in the future directly at the factory. But until then, send it in. Until then, send it in to Salt, and then Salt would ask us to check them.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, okay. And I assume it's the same for you, Alexandra?
I even cannot open yours, so it's no results when I'm searching by number.
You cannot open your own?
No, not my own. I mean your calculation.
No, okay. But that's it seems like that that no one of you are able to open calculations created by me.
For status, I have finish configuring and release for quote. So it's two buttons.
Can you share your desktop? Then I want to have a look.
I will try. Do you see this?
Yes. Yeah.
So I have just. I cannot put a discount here.
No, but that's because you have not F7 yet. If you do finish configuration, do that.
That's an error.
It's because you have not put in payment. It's because you have not put in payment terms. So if you say close to this one, and then you go on general revision date beside the there. You see there should be some payment terms in there. Then you press first you need to say edit all. I assume you have done that. Yes. No. And press save. You, as long as when your save bottom is yellow, it needs to be pressed. And then now you can say edit. There's a small pencil saying edit. Yeah. Now you can put in payment terms. 30-day net. And then save. And then go to status. Yeah. And finish configuration. Yes. And then go to the pricing tab. And then put in your discount. 600%.
Okay, yes, for free. You have paid to me.
Yeah, we will. Yes. Is it doing anything or?
No, just nothing. Oh, it works.
Yeah, it works. And then you should be able to, if you press save, when this one gets yellow, this small desktop here, you have to press it before going to the next level. Then go to status again. Release for quote. And do not put a mark there. No mark. And then yes. Okay. Then it could be fun to see if you press proposal letter. I want to see if you have any at all. And then proposal letter. No, you don't. No, you don't. I want to make sure you get this third-party quote template, all of you. Just say cancel, yeah. Then go to status again. I want to see if you're set up the same way. Yes. You see, you're not able to release for sales order either. So you just go via salt as you do.
Okay.
Like Bojan and Jelena are doing. And when we want to change that in the future, we're going to change that in your profile so you will be able to do it.
Okay.
It's always difficult doing these trainings because people have different accounts. So it can be a little bit difficult to control who has what and blah, blah, blah. But okay, fine. If you stop share.
Yeah.
I will take over again. Then the next thing which I want to show you is on your help yourself links, the PowerPoint presentation you got. There is a link to Ask Knowledge. And I just want to show you what type of information you can find in there. I want to show you how you log onto it. Ask Knowledge is actually the background for Ask. I will see if I can open it here. 2 seconds. I have it here as a link. Logging into Ask Knowledge, you just use the same username and password which you are using to log into Ask quotation program. The headlines here in front are more or less the same as in Ask. Then what you do, some are able to just press the icon here. Somehow this function is not available in my Ask Knowledge. But you then go to Product, Heat Exchanger, Gasketed Heat Exchangers. And then you get into this, more or less this picture here. In here, you will find information and part numbers on more or less all parts, not split down to part numbers on each bolt and stuff like that on the frame, but you can get gasket part numbers, plate part numbers. You can see the dimension of the plates. You can see the pressing depth of the plate on each specific type. For example, we can try to have a look at Bydgosz T4. First, you can click down in this menu here, but you can also sort in the family. And then if we just take Bydgosz, we only get the Bydgosz T4. And we go in and click on plates. Then we get part numbers on all different plates. If it's end plate, seal plates, we get the angle of the plate. We get the minimum pitch, and if you want to calculate the pressing depth of a plate, you take the minimum pitch minus the plate thickness. Then you have the plate gap. So 2.3 for T4, for example. Up here you have some general information about it, what the overall length, the width, vertical port sensors, horizontal, diameter, area, everything. So, and that information you can get for plates, gaskets, frames for the different plate types. On top of that, there are other useful information in ASK Knowledge. For example, if you go to this one, Help, under Help, you have this one called Material. Here's a lot of text regarding material, and there is also guidelines down here on which plate material to select for types of fluid. And also mentioned here what maximum chloride in parts per million or milligram per liter we can allow on an EC316, for example. If the wall temperature is 25, maximum parts per million is 400, and their temperature increasing, it gets a lot more aggressive, and then, of course, parts per million is lowered downwards. So here were plate material, that's the first part of it. A lot of text for each types of material. Then it's titanium. Then we come into chemical analyze for the different material, how much carbon, how much chrome and everything, nickel and all that. Again, same here. Then we come to gasket material, where the different gasket materials are listed, and with a small application note underneath. The same note which you have here on a nitro, here on a nitro peroxide. The same note here is the same as you get when you scroll over the gasket in a selection when selecting a heat exchanger. I will just make a new revision and show you. Oops. If you are on the EPDM, we should get here a limited application and some small comments about what it can be used for. This text here is the same as the one you will find in ASK Knowledge. Yeah. Then there's something about pressures, a little bit about applications, blankings, ordering, everything. It's not fully updated, but it is useful for you to find information about the different plate types, grids and bosses. When we, for example, start on looking on multi-section, that's level 3. We should be able to find, let's see what we have of possibilities here. Yeah. You see the different versions the corner bosses are available in, and the boss type naming and the part numbers for the different bosses. This tool, the ASK Knowledge, is also very useful for when quoting spare parts or rebuilds. You can go in and get part numbers for the different parts you need for your rebuild or for if you're quoting loose spare parts. So a lot of different informations can be found in here. Just open it up using your own ASK logon and play around with it. Search for, see if you can find the information you are requesting. It is as long to log out as it is, but as slow to log out as it was to log in. So, okay. Maybe it's because I'm using an old Explorer browser. That was Ask Knowledge. Am I going too fast? This is a question to the group. Is it too fast, or is it okay speed?
It is okay for me.
It's okay for me.
Good. Now we are going to look at, we are actually at a level where we can start doing the fun part of it. Starting looking at applications, starting doing our designs. And according to the agenda, we are finished here, except this cleanup file, but we will try to do that. We would do that stepwise when we start doing exercises. So what we're going to have a look at now is general design guidelines. We will go through this first as a general design guideline. Then we will start on food design guidelines, single section. And then we will take that step by step by I'm showing you the guidelines, then we do a calculation, then we do another application, I show you the guidelines, and we do a calculation, etc., etc. But to start with, we need to go in and look at this general design guidelines. And it is here. I hope it's visible to all.
Yes.
Perfect. These presentations, I already sent you those. And last time I also sent you the recordings, and I also sent you assignments, which we are going to look at later. But now we go through a little bit of boring stuff, not boring, but important stuff. When designing a heat exchanger, always consider design rules and approvals. PED, ASME, PMO, 3A, whatever requirements is required by the local authority. Always consider PHE design temperatures when you select the gaskets. Always considering the temperature when selecting plate material if you have corrosion media. Sometimes customer suggestions must be questioned, meaning it's not always that they know what they want. They just come up with something because the competitor did it. Or they used to have titanium in a plate heat exchanger, but it might not be necessary, as an example. So if you're in doubt, always go back to the customer and ask the difficult question. Always consider working pressure as test pressure when selecting plates, thickness, frames, connections. So these are things you need to think about when starting quoting a plate heat exchanger. Then we have some guidelines on warnings which shouldn't be neglected. Do not exceed port connection velocity 5 to 6 meter. 6 meter, it will give you a warning for any type of liquid. Do not exceed port connection velocities 1.5 up to 2.5 for any liquid containing fat, meaning dairy products. And when we start doing steam condensation duties, do not exceed port connection velocities of 100 to 150 for steam. And if we are talking about vacuum steam, it should not exceed more than 30 up to maximum 60 meter per second. 2 seconds. It was just a call. Do not use steam directly, heating or pasteurization or any product containing fibers or any product where severe fouling at evaluated temperatures can be anticipated. Simply because you cannot control a steam system as precise and as narrow as if you do a hot water loop. I know some customers suggest, yeah, but I want to heat with steam directly. Try to convince them to go away from that and make a loop where you do hot water instead of heating directly with steam. Because they will not be able to control it if fouling, if we are talking about a product where fouling is present. Heating water, no problem. Actually, also heating sugar solutions it's not a problem either. You can heat that directly with steam. It will just melt the sugar solution even better than if you use a narrow delta T. I hope that's clear. So steam directly can be used for product generally regards as non-fouling, like clean water, vegetable oils, cautions for liquid sugars. Use co-current flow or attention loops. We call it attention loops, but can also be called water loops. When cooling products where surface medium temperature is below the freezing point. Or solidification point of the product. I actually showed you in the co-current version that we were below the freezing point of the water. We could avoid that by making a design in co-current, or we could have done a design where we did an attemperation loop with the water. In order not to get the plate wall below freezing point or below the point where we damage the product. Remember, you can always ask questions. Temperatures of seawater, river water, tar water should not exceed 45 to 48. At any point in a PHE, check the wall temperature, or else severe fouling can be expected. And now we come with some recommendations to flow rations between product and hot water. As an example, if we pasteurize at 70, we pasteurize 10,000 liter at 75 degrees, then we would go with 15,000 up to 20,000 liter hot water, and then with a delta T of 1 to 2 degrees. That is normal recommended flow rations. Of course, you can bend them. Not as much as when you're doing product hot water, but when you're doing rations between product and chilled water, we say here ration 1 to 1.5 up to 3. I sometimes go higher. If I have 10,000 liter, I might go with 40,000 liter ice water. Depends on how cheap I want to make the heat exchanger. Depends on which, am I in a very competitive situation? Because I can make the heat exchanger cheaper if I increase the water flow. If chilled water, brine, or alcohol solutions returns to the refrigeration plant directly from the PHE, a temperature increase of more than 8 to 12 degrees is normally not acceptable. normally. But it can, of course, be difficult. Let's say you're cooling some cream directly from the separator at 55 down to 6 degrees. Then if you don't apply a high flow rate on your ice water, it will get returned at maybe 22 or whatever. So sometimes customer has to accept these scenarios. But if it's a normal cooling where you cool from, let's say, 20 down to 6 degrees, then it will be achievable to get the ice water back at 12. Yes. An alternative to that can be a bypass arrangement in front of the heat exchanger. I will show you that later, or an asymmetric plate arrangement in order to keep the pressure drop on your cooling media at an acceptable level. Because if you want your cooling media return temperature low, you need to run with a very high flow rate on it. And therefore, the pressure drop on this media will be high. But that can be avoided by making an asymmetric, what we call an asymmetric plate arrangement. This will be shown to you. Don't worry. I will show it to you. If it comes from a ring main, the return temperature is normally not a big problem for the customer, because they have other equipment where they come back with higher temperatures, and then it comes back with a mixed temperature, then it goes into the refrigeration plant after. Then we have some heating guidelines. Recommended temperature difference, or what we also call delta T, between product and heating media varies on the product, obviously, whether it's a low fouling, medium fouling, or severe fouling product. For low fouling products, by heating, let's say you're preheating milk up for some fermentation, adding cultures and then fermentate it for yogurt, you can go with 5 to 10 degree delta T. If you're heating from 50 to 75, we accept, or we recommend 2 to 5 degrees. And if you're heating in the range of 75 up to 140, you can use 77 on the 75 degrees, but on the 140 degrees, you should maximum use 1 degree, simply to avoid fouling. Medium fouling products, this delta T goes down, obviously. And severe fouling products, I will not go through all of them, you just read it. The more severe the product fouling the product is, the lower the delta T recommendations they are. Heat-related fouling is generally not a problem when the temperature is below 50. In regeneration sections, the temperature difference between the hot product and cold side in the regen section should not exceed 15 to 20 degrees when temperature exceeds 60 degrees. Meaning, if you're heating up in the regen section to 65 and then you're pasteurizing at 85, then the product comes back from the holding cell at 85 and it meets the product of 65. Then we are on the level of 20. So then we are within the limit. But you should try to keep it in that range. Before you start, make sure that you have all the necessary information from your customer. If you don't have it, send the inquiry sheet to him and ask him to click all needed information, to point out all he needs. Or else you can do revisions and revisions and revisions if you don't get everything clear from the beginning. All variations in products, duties, operation equal, meaning if he wants to process different products. It could be variations in flow rates, temperatures, heat recoveries, information about additives in the product. It could be flavor stabilizers. Do the product contain particles? If he comes and say, I want a juice pasteurizer, your first question should be, do you have any particles in this juice? And he says, yes, they are 10 millimeters. Okay. Then we cannot quote your plate heat exchanger. Then we can recommend you a tubular. But we don't have a free flow plate in our portfolio. We have the DuoFlow Plus where we can allow up to 8 millimeter. So if he said 10 to 15, yeah, then you can't quote him a plate heat exchanger. Inlet temperatures and limitations on service, meaning if you're assuming that he has 1 degree ice water and he doesn't, you might as well ask him from the beginning, what type of temperatures do you have on your service? Is there any limitations to the flow rate I can use? And he says, yes, I have a pump only able to pump 30 cubic meter. Okay, then you know that is the maximum you can apply on of ice water, as an example. Ask the question, I assume in your part of the world, there will not be that many requests on PMO 3A. Kieler-Richtlinie is an old German authority. We don't see that very often anymore. Very rare. But there is a guideline or Kieler-Richtlinie, and sometimes customer still wants it according to that authority. Information about the equipment connected with the PHE. Do we have a separator, homogenizer, deaerator, booster pump? Limitations in connections with CIP, meaning that he can't do more than 50% higher CIP as compared to the product flow rate. Consider material selection in connections with the CIP, ingredients, temperature, concentrations, running time before intermediate CIP cleaning. If he comes and say, I want you to guarantee 20-hour runtime, and he wants to UHT treat milk, then you have to say to him, no, that's not possible. If you want 20-hour runtime, you need to purchase an infusion plant for 6 million euro. It cannot be done in a plate heat exchanger alone. It has to be in connection with some other type of equipment. So all these things needs to be considered, and I'm not saying you should ask all these questions each time. If you know your customer and he just wants a milk cooler or whatever, then of course don't ask the questions. But if he's asking you for complicated milk pasteurizers with 10 different products, you need to know, of course, the temperature profile for each product. For sure, or else you can't design a proper heat exchanger for it. So these are things to consider. That was sanitary PHE's general design guidelines. Remember, they are only guidelines, but if you follow these, you will not get into troubles. But I tell you, Stig and I, we bend these guidelines on a daily basis, but that's because we know we can do it on some applications. But since you're new in this, try to follow these guidelines. And if you are in doubt, you can always contact us and we can have a look at what you have done and say, yeah, but it's acceptable to go with one degree more in delta T or whatever. But if you follow the guidelines, you will not get into trouble. Clear?
Yep.
Good. That was, Now we're going to start on food design single sections. This is basic food design for single sections and with different, if I don't know if you have printed it out or looked at it, but it is recommendations to different types of applications within dairy industry, beverage, and some processed food as well. So here, PHE designs guidelines for preheating and cooling. What we are listing up here is typical applications for preheating and cooling of milk, yogurt milk, cheese milk, and whey, as an example. Of course, there can be variations in these temperatures. It could be that he wants his preheating just to 30 degrees for his cheese vessels. It could also be for the yogurt fermentations, then in this particular dairy, they only want it for 40. So these are typical temperatures, but there can, of course, be variations. So for cheese, it's normal or low fouling. These product types are normally low fouling. And it could be heating for preheating for a cheese vessel from 4 to 33. And or it could be for yogurt fermentation, or it could be a milk reception cooler. Runtime is normally not a problem on these types of applications. Check that the design can handle all situations. It could be that the customer has variations in inlet temperatures, or he has some specific requirements to the CIP. So each type of applications are built up with this slide here, where we list as a general. Then we go a little bit more into detail on the next slide, where again, you have these type of products. Then we come with the heating profile as stated on the other, and normally indirect heating, meaning you have a hot water loop. And the hot water loop can be in this range, depending what you're heating to. We come with recommendations to product and service media when it's hot, as heating. It's 1 to 1 up to 2 in ration. That's very normal. And if it's cooling, from 12 to 4, it's normal that they have ice water of 1 to 2. And again, the ration can be from 1 up to 3, or maybe sometimes higher. CIP ration is normal on products like this, thin, low viscosity products. The CIP difference between product and CIP will be normally 1 to 1, 10,000 liter, 10,000 liter CIP. Frame material is our stainless steel frames normally, and they are 31304 material. Some cases they can ask for painted, but normally it's stainless steel requirements for the frame. 6 bar, if you have a frame available for 6 bar, you can select that. It's cheaper than a 10 bar. Plate material can be 0.5 to 0.6 EC316. EPDM gasket if the fat percentage is up to 5%. Plate velocity, that's the plate channel velocity. We will look at that later on. Can be in the range of 0.25 up to 0.5. That's common. And on cold side, it can be lower. Maximum fitting velocity 3.5 because the product contains fat. So it's because the reason why we say 3.5 is I have seen milk intake coolers where we go up where customer has asked for only having 4-inch pipe, and therefore he will get 3.5 meter per second. But that is in the high end. Product pressure losses is around 1 to 1.5. These are recommendations and how an application normally looks. And if you follow these recommendations, you are home free. Next slide in each of these sections, it contains normally 3 slides per application area. It's just a sketch of a typical. Here's a heater where you have a water circuit where the water is heated by the steam, and here's a cooler. That was milk heating, cooling. And then I suggest that we jump to an assignment, because if I go through all applications area at one time, you will have forgotten what we talked about up here when we drop to the next one. So I want to, after a small break, I want to do a couple of exercises with this type of applications. So we take a small break now. My throat is again very sore. So if we take 10 minutes and then we can continue with the making a couple of exercises or more, depending on how confident you are in it. So let's see each other in 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay.